What is up, guys? Welcome on back to TK's Garage. And in today's video, a lot of people said, hey, look, there's, they're going to talk about this for a long time. There's not going to be any actions. Nothing's going to happen to all of this missing money in California, from the homeless fund to the rail fund to the California Air Resource Board. Well, it looks like there's somebody that's going to change that. So, welcome on back to TK's Garage. It seems that the Trump administration has picked California assemblymen and others to join the United States Attorney's Office and to aggressively investigate and track down money, billions of dollars that have gone missing in California. They're starting in the homeless fund. They're also looking into the high-speed rail debacle and at the wonderful California Air Resource Board. Now, why does this matter? Well, all three of those issues are well over $100 billion, right? Between the high-speed rail thing, I think was at what, 40-something billion. The homeless fund was over 20 billion. And the California Air Resource Board is probably the worst and the most egregious in costing people in California untolds about just tons and tons of money. But I know you guys are saying, well, nothing's going to happen. Well, the local media literally just interviewed the U.S. attorney now for that area in California, and I want to roll that right here.
Millions of dollars have been spent in LA County, yet the problem of homelessness remains far from being solved. Now, a federal task force is investigating possible fraud and corruption. That task force is led by the brand new U.S. Attorney for the region, Bill Essayli. Welcome, U.S. Attorney Bill Essayli. We've had you on several times as Assembly Member, Bill Essayli. New job. Congratulations on the new gig.
Thank you. Happy to be here and happy to be in this new role.
So let's talk about this homelessness investigation. What have you found so far, and so what are you looking to do in the next few months and years?
Yeah, this is an issue that's been not only on my radar, but I think everyone's radar. For the last few years, we've seen billions of dollars being invested into the homelessness crisis, and there's very little to show for it. When I was in Sacramento, we would ask for outcomes, and we got no answers. And then just this last month, as audit was conducted at the request of Judge Carter, and an accounting firm came in and looked at LAHSA and said there's $2 billion unaccounted for. Yeah. That doesn't happen. So we want to get to the bottom of where all the money went.
So Judge Carter is the judge that sort of oversees the area, and he's been pushing for a lot of this homelessness stuff. LAHSA is the housing authority that the county has been using. Now there's a big push to, the city has been using, I should say, there's a push to sort of maybe change LAHSA because of that. So where do we go from here?
Yeah. So we're not prejudging anything. We're conducting an investigation from the bottom up. We're going to get all the bank records, we're going to look at all the transactions, and we're going to account for every dollar that was spent. And we've got FBI, IRS, Office of Inspector General of Housing and Urban Development, and I have my best prosecutors in the office that will be working on this. And the public deserves to know where their money went.
And I know you walked Skid Row with Judge Carter.
I did.
What was that conversation like?
That was an eye-opening experience. I mean, the level of need there was shocking, and also the lack of government services. I mean, walking around there, the only people I saw providing any aid, medical or food, were private people with private donors. And the only government assistance I saw there was people handing out needles and drug kits so that people could safely use drugs. It's shocking.
Well, speaking of that, the previous U.S. attorney put a lot of emphasis on fentanyl and dealing with that issue. Is that something that you see as a priority, and what are you going to do on that?
That is a priority to the administration. Obviously, a lot of the fentanyl is coming over the border, so that's part of our border policy, securing our border, going after China for sending the product to Mexico, and obviously the cartel for distributing it. But dealers in California should be on notice. If you deal fentanyl, we will prosecute you and charge you, and you'll go to federal prison, not state prison.
What does this role mean to you, to have the confidence of President Trump to be doing this now?
Well, look, it's an incredible honor to be selected by the President and the Attorney General for this. This is the largest U.S. Attorney's office in the country. We have over 300 lawyers. It's a tremendous responsibility. But I think, with my background, having been a local and federal prosecutor and having been up in Sacramento, it's time to have that oversight, that level of check and balance on a state of California where, frankly, there hasn't been a lot of checks and balances in this state.
Well, speaking of, because you were just part of the super minority, right, in the assembly, where essentially Democrats could ignore you on everything. They didn't need your votes on anything.
They did.
Have a lot of those people now start to reach out to you because they need you? Have you gotten a different sort of response now that you have a lot more power?
I got a lot of congratulations. But as you can imagine, this new role, I've sort of had to detach myself from the political world. So, I've gotten a lot of just congratulatory messages, but no, I probably won't engage in substantive conversations with them just to maintain my independence.
But speaking of that, though, I mean, you were, a real critic of Governor Newsom. Obviously, you're in a different sort of role now, but how do you see this job potentially as a way to keep him in check?
Look, my job is not to keep the governor himself in check. My job is to follow the evidence where it goes. So we're going to look at state spending, like this homelessness, $24 billion spent over the last 5 years. We're just going to look at the accounts and see where the money goes. Public corruption will be a key issue. I know there's going to be another investigation into the high-speed rail. So it's not the governor per se, but it is a lot of the issues that he champions.
So I don't know about you, but that looks a lot to me like somebody that has a mission, a plan, and they announce it right there. I said this yesterday that the IRS was moving in hundreds of agents, and the FBI had brought in a ton of agents, and there was the doubters or the haters in the comments going, "No, they're not actually here." Well, you just heard it from, I guess the U.S. attorney there in California must be lying on the news, no less. Yeah, I don't think so. So I think it's also funny because we've seen statements being made. Gavin Newsom has basically lawyered up. He has no discussions. He won't talk to the U.S. attorney at all. Karen Bass, on the other hand, has made some public statements, hoping that it's not just a fishing expedition. I mean, it was okay for y'all to be fishing. Like, what are y'all hiding? I think that is a applicable question. What are you hiding? How much money do you know about that went to cronies or friends that shouldn't have gone there? And this is just the start, right? They're starting with this homeless issue, and then we're getting into what Sean Duffy's pushing at the Department of Transportation on high-speed rail there, and pulling any and all and clawing back any and all federal funding there. And then we get to the California Air Resource Board, which is, I know exactly what you guys want. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you think this U.S. attorney is going to go all the way in? I mean, I think so. I was watching the Reform California channel yesterday, and they were saying the same thing. They're all of these officials in California are lawyered up with criminal defense attorneys. That's interesting. That's very interesting. And I do like what the Reform California channel is trying to do, and the fact that they're also, California assemblymen, by making it, by pushing a bill or passing a law that makes it where California's taxpayers' dollars will not go to defend these idiots for breaking the law. I think that's just a no-brainer. That's common sense. But I think the hammer is coming down. So if you're from California and you've been looking for some relief, it looks like you might get some, and it's from the Department of Justice. Go figure. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Give the video a big thumbs up if you like what I do. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And as always, stay petty, my friends.